97. Oh, hold on. We're live.
I'll tell you this.
We're live.
Oh,
We're live.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the No Bangers
More energy.
Card Podcast.
Did your voice just change in the middle?
Yeah,
of it?
it did.
I didn't give him a countdown today. I just hit the button and I forgot to give him a countdown. He's like, trying to show me some comps. And then, boom, here we are.
Episode 19, just like that, ladies and gentlemen, in your face.
Happens.
I am joined by the illustrious co-host, Mr. Rod from Picking a Bunch of Cards, Cary from American Arbitrage Cards, and myself, Tim from Over the Years Sports. And I would like to read something to the lovely people here watching the No Banger Sports Card Podcast, because if you're one of these guys, you might not like the No Banger Sports Card Podcast.
Would you call it a codcast?
Podcast. I don't like podcasts.
It's a codcast. I like it.
This damn codcast.
We did.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sorry,
we all
shout
wear
out-
cod pieces. So
Shout out
that's
to all my
appropriate.
Macedonians. This guy says, commented on my recent video, Mr. DJR85 says, I hate, quote, what's the best you can do, end quote. And then he comes down and doubles down and says, I also hate when some guy comes through, grabs all the best cards, and tries to lowball me. I don't know if this is the guy that I bought the cards from, or if it's just some random jabroni who's watching my YouTube channels and commenting. But
Dude, I love your like I was watching your video, and I like how you were like, I like to just stay at like 3 for like that's where you want to be, and I'm like, does that? I mean, like I would like to stay at 1. I don't know if that's always possible.
I
but
mean,
it
I was
seems to
really
work.
honest with the guy, you know.
No, I actually was. I mean, it's kind of engaging because you are like you're just, you know. I wish I was like that. I get really like quiet at card shows and like garage selling, as you guys know. I'm not like the most talkative person unless we start talking, which sometimes it's hard for me to start doing at a card show. But you were like engaging. He's like, well, you know, what price you thinking? And you're like, it's going to be a lot lower than you want. Like, I'm like, I don't know if I could say that to somebody. I want to do it. I want to be like you guys. It's hard.
Tim, do you feel attacked right now? I kind of feel like you're feeling you're being personally attacked.
No,
by
I think it's
comments.
awesome.
No, not you. You're not Tim.
But
I'm talking to
DJR,
Tim.
by
Yeah.
DJR85.
Yeah, you feel
No,
good.
I
no,
meant
no,
like
no,
I'm
no.
not attacking him.
I felt like in my mind I was like, I wonder if this is the guy I bought the cards from. But
That would be funny.
but then I'm like, this might be some other guy. And then I responded, obviously, and I was like, well, why do you hate that? Why did the funniest part to me was like when he said that he comes through and grabs all of the good cards. What am I supposed to do? Grab the bad cards? Like what are we doing here?
If you ever been to a sale with me, I am called the human vacuum now.
Yeah,
as these
you
two
are
call
the
me.
grab
human
all the
vacuum.
cards.
I grab all. I grab
Yeah.
the good. I grab the bad. I grab the broken.
You
I grab
are,
the
dude.
ripped ones. I just take it all.
No,
That's
it's
what I
scary. Like having you like you guys were at that one yard sale, and I went around the corner to another one, and I walk up, and there's a bunch of Pokemon cards, which I'm already not super comfortable with. And I'm like, I got to make a decision fast before Rod comes in and just like drops 30 grand on him without looking at him or whatever the heck Rod's doing. So it was good for me. It put some pressure on me.
Listen.
It made me make a decision.
It works out though for me. I would say majority of the time it was a good decision when I walk in there, because what I do is I literally just grab a lot of cards, and then if I see enough that makes sense to make a deal, I just, instead of wasting time, I just like, what do you want for it all? And just take it all.
No, it's a good habit, honestly. I'm surprised constantly that people are as negotiable as they are. I was at the Browns Junk in the Drunk. That's a totally different thing.
Yeah,
Junk in the Trunk flea market.
I'm sure Tim's been drunk in people's trunk before, right?
I just
we'll just keep it
computed
at that, all right?
I just computed what I said. Wow.
Yes.
Junk in the Trunk. That's the name of a flea market here in Florida. And some lady was like, I want
Sure it is, buddy.
$200. Yeah. Oh, I have it right here. It was like $200 for this, and I took out the best cards already, but it had a bunch of, like team lots, but it had numbered stuff, some autos. She wanted $200, and there's no way I could do 2. I didn't feel comfortable at half that, but I offered half that. I was like, I'll do 100, and she said yes. I'm like, that was half the price, dude. I should have. No, I think there was like bags with 4 or 5 LED La Cruz rookies. There was. I mean, I still probably paid too strong, honestly. But I was surprised like that you could just negotiate like that, and people are like, okay.
Okay, I'm gonna give away a card because
Whoa.
it's that time where
Out of
we need to
nowhere.
do a giveaway a card. So I'm gonna give you 2 hashtags. You have to put both hashtags in the comment section below to be qualified
them?
for the giveaway. Both of them. Okay. Hashtag number 1, I'm gonna give you right now. Hashtag number 2, I'll give you at the end of the show. That makes you have to listen to the whole show. So there's that. Hashtag number 1 is going to be hashtag Liver King.
Tim's under the impression that he looks like Liver King. You look like Liver King after he's been lost in the woods for like 16 days.
He's been lost in the woods for like 6 years.
Dude, you nothing like Liver King. Let me pull up a picture of the Liver King here, just to kind of put this in.
Liver King looks like me, Rod, and Cary put together.
It's true. The roids of Rod, the face of Tim, and then just the personality, or the just.
I don't know.
I mean, like
girth. I don't know.
Girth is a good word.
there it is. There's the Liver King right there, guys. You look nothing like the Liver King. I don't know
What doesn't he?
What type of mirror do you have in your bathroom that you think that you look like the Liver King this morning when you woke up?
He's got the ones with the lines, so it makes it look like he has a 6-pack.
But doesn't he kind of look like the 3 of us put together? Like if you could just like AI morph like Rod into me and then me into Cary, it would look like this guy on the screen right now.
You should just go on ChatGPT, put our 3 faces or like full body shots and say just combine.
This is what happens when I don't send out a format for the show. It just goes downhill fast. All right.
Well, listen, I did that because now the people on Spotify have to come over to YouTube to see who Liver King looks like, right? But
how do
speaking
we
of
get
Spotify,
the people on YouTube to go over to Spotify? That's the real trick.
You can do both.
I don't know how. How?
We'll just keep them here. How about that? They don't need to go to Spotify.
No,
But
I
we
think
do
they should
have-
listen a second time on Spotify.
We do have
and
some
on the road-
questions.
on the road.
the Spotifyers have answered the call, and I am proud of you all. So, Rod, you're going to read some comments and questions from the world of Spotify, aren't you?
Absolutely. We're going to read
Sports
some of
card
those.
related.
Sports card related. We
Sports
got some
card. This
questions
is a sports card podcast.
we got that.
Yeah,
And then we're also we're going to do
We're
a deep dive
struggling
later.
today.
Yeah, we're struggling. We're going to do a deep dive later on this show about why there's different card prices between baseball, football, basketball, and I know the big ones we get a question about. This is actually a question that came up in the comments here. We'll talk about this later on, but why do case hits in baseball are not as important as like football or basketball? So we'll do a deep dive into that and a couple other things. But let's jump into a couple of these questions we got here. And
We need like question time theme music.
yeah. So all right, this is more of a comment. 1, 2, 3, no bangers with love. This is coming from Buster Chestnut.
Shout
You
out
happy now,
Buster.
Tim? Are you happy now,
Buster.
Tim? Someone comment on Spotify. I wish I had more interest in that. He said that he's interested. He's not. I'm sorry. He said he's not interested so much in baseball, more into football, basketball, and non-sports. But perhaps Rod's Marvel break will draw him in for future breaks in the future. So you got something to do the no bangers on Spotify. That is the first for you, Tim. How do you feel now?
Shout out to the Spotifyers.
All right. Here's a question. This is going to be for me. Why does Rod call it an envelope? Well, I'm going to tell you because that's how it's pronounced. Next question. All right.
Maybe he's saying an envelope and just
Nope.
combined them. And
They actually separated
it's a
the words.
diphthong in language,
This is
guys.
from C. Dillon. He actually separated anvil, ope in the comments. So nicely played, my friend. But that's how it's really pronounced. You've been pronouncing it wrong your entire life. All right. This one's for Cary. Where in Utah are you?
Nowhere, but I'm from northern Utah. So if you know where Clearfield was, it's near Ogden. That's where I lived for years.
All right. Now here's the actual real question we got here. Did any of you do this part-time becoming full-time resellers? And if so, how did you balance your work in reselling? That is a great question because that comes up a lot, especially the people that want to turn their hobby into like a part-time thing or someone that eventually wants to become a full-time reseller. Now, for those who don't know, everybody on this podcast right here we're full-time pickers and we do sports cards as well. Cary has pretty much moved from being a picker to a full-time sports card guy. And, this is what we do for a living. So I'll start with you, Tim. you know, you have, I mean, everyone starts someplace. So you started you didn't jump in this full time. You started part time and then worked your way into full time.
Yeah, I was part time, and I was working a job and doing this part time and doing content. And the owner of the restaurant I was working at said, "Listen, dude, you got to just go in, dive in." So I took some time, ran some numbers, and yeah, I've been full time ever since. So that was literally right before the world shut down for COVID. So I left my job in February of 2020, and I've been full time ever since. So it's just, you have to have a good support system. You have to make sure you. I learned something the other day that somebody said to me that I think was one of the things I wish I would have done. Is I think it's important to build up a very, very substantial amount of capital before moving into full time. Like you can do it and like crunch the numbers and be like, okay, well, if I make this amount of money, it's the same thing as if I was working a full time job, right? But you have to spend 2 times the amount of hours to make that money that you were making at the job, right? So I think I would suggest building up a substantial amount of capital before going full time. I think that would be very helpful.
You gotta go ahead.
No,
I was just say added just especially with sports cards because you know I mean, yes, we are the bargain box bros, but at the end of the day, if you want to level up your business, you know, you're going to need capital to buy a product, to flip, and to move on. But go ahead, Cary, what we're going to say?
You gotta love it. I mean, because the truth is, if you go full time, you're going to be spending a lot. You think you're going to be spending more time, but you're going to be spending a lot more time working than you think. Because there's this whole thing of you could always do more. There's always more opportunity, and now you have time to capitalize on it. So if you don't like the work of it, and I'm not just talking the going out and finding the cards or opening stuff, that's fun, but like the actual grinding of shipping or listing or doing live sales, if that's something you really hate, you need to think about not doing it and continuing it part time so that pressure's not there for you. But I mean, you guys have all heard my origin story 100 times. I got fired from In-N-Out, remember? I've talked about that a lot on my main channel. Like I graduated college. How many degrees? Do you guys know how many degrees I have?
Three. Not 1, not 2, but 3. And you use how many of those right now?
None of them. Yep. Hablo español si quisiera hablar en español. Podemos. But one of them Spanish. But yeah, so I was a full-time flipper after that because that happened right after I graduated college. I didn't go back to school. And I just went into picking, but I did a lot of cards back then. And then you're right. I'd say like 95% of what I do now is cards. Although I have been buying a little bit more. I sold a Nikon camera the other day.
The one that you got in the box of cards?
Yeah, in the box, which pretty much got almost more than half my money back for that box. So that was a cool thing. Like since we are versed enough, you know, you're a glass expert. A lot of people don't know that, Tim, here. Rod, you do
pop
stuff
culture,
and
very much.
Culture,
I do stuff.
Well, you also like are big in the comics and everything too, which is pretty akin to what we're doing right now. But we all have these other skills that we can combine when we're at a garage sale. You know, so we're not just out there at garage sales looking for cards. We just find cards when we're at garage sales naturally looking for everything. So
yeah, if Rod tells you to look at a croquet set, look the other way immediately.
Oh yeah, he's trying to throw you off.
Just in case
listen,
you didn't know that.
Yeah, he's talking. Me, Tim, and our one buddy Mike, Death Pile Picker. We were at a yard sale, and I literally pointed a direction to something that I didn't want to buy. I said, "Hey, there's a croquet set there. It was $3. It's like $150 set." And my buddy went over to get it, and then me and Tim walked to the table and just filled with video game stuff. So I didn't know it was there when I said that. That was just the first thing I saw, and I didn't know. I didn't want to buy it. So
well, you know what's crazy is at that same sale. Do you remember if I bought that block head for hats?
Yeah,
which I was just buying because I thought it was like, you know, be another thing for me to shape hats on, and it was 50 cents. And it turns out it's a 1930s military hat shaper. And I sold it for $80, something like that.
Nice.
Nice, man.
So going back to the question here, for me, I'm a third generation picker. So my grandparents were pickers, and they worked at my grandmother volunteered at our local church thrift store, and then my grandparents would go to the garage sales, and they would buy stuff to take to the flea market and flip. So I started selling cards as a teenager at the flea market. That was the first thing I started selling. And then my dad had a hauling and tree service business. and we would clear out estates. So I'd find a lot of cool stuff there, and we'd take stuff to the auction, and my dad would set up and sell. So I kind of was born into the picking industry there, and me and my dad had a passion for cards, so we did cards there for a long time before I took a break from it.
Patrick Ricard, the fullback?
Yes, that's it.
Wait, you're related to Patrick
No,
Ricard?
I didn't say that, did I?
Oh, I thought you said Patrick Ricard.
No.
It's kind of like envelope. It's just an accent.
Yeah, it's my Philly accent coming out there, bro. All right. So, but
no, he was talking about how when he was like 17 years old, he was who were you flipping rookies of? Like early win? Who were rookies when you were 17? Jose Canseco?
No, I'm not that old. Just come on, man.
I'm trying to angle you towards the old person role in this podcast.
Yeah. No, not
you're like barely older than us.
Yeah, but for me, I worked a full-time job. I did medical sales. I did a lot of stuff. But I would say that to go full-time, I pretty much I did this, even though it's part-time, I consider it full-time. So I had pretty much 2 full-time jobs for a long time because the money for my real job was really good because I did medical sales there for a while. And what I would recommend doing is if you're looking to flip cards and do stuff full-time, what you really want to do is anytime during your job you have downtime. It's before work, on your lunch break, after work, you need to make time to list, and you need to build, like Tim 100%. Talked earlier about building up a bankroll. One of the biggest things is you need to build up a bankroll because when you do quit your job and you do replace your income from your flipping, at the end of the day, like that's not going to be enough because remember, that income is only going to pay for your bills. You also have to have enough income to buy more product. You have to be able to make buys and sells. You have to make contacts. So it's a very difficult thing. I don't recommend it. I would say becoming a full-time reseller is not for everyone. It's very difficult. And just because you say I'm going to make so much more money when I go full-time because I'm not working 40 hours, that doesn't mean you're going to double your income or put another 40 hours into your business because there's a lot of other things like creating social media. There's going to be things making contacts, going out sourcing. That stuff takes up a lot of time that you guys may not know. So just got to be very careful.
Social media is a complete extra full-time job, 100%.
Yeah. It's a monster by itself.
It takes up a lot of our time.
Yeah, it takes up a lot of time. But speaking about monsters, did you guys see that Marvel is? Topps is dropping Marvel.
You were talking
Chrome?
about Timmy Hot Hands when you said
no, not yet,
that
not yet,
smoother transition.
Not yet. We'll get to that here. But no, Topps is dropping Marvel. They are doing a pre-sale this week for Marvel Topps Chrome.
Marvel are mutants; they're not monsters. So it doesn't make as much sense.
It doesn't make sense. No,
you're usually really good on the segues. That one was like a 7 out of 10.
The reason why I said that is because if you watch what's happening. V Friends start out at $99 a box. Those are selling for a couple $100 a piece. Topps Chrome WWE was released at what, $159 or $169? Those are selling for $350, $400. Disney, you can't even touch those boxes from Disney Chrome. Basketball just dropped. So college basketball there, but. I just think that the Marvel Topps Chrome is going to be huge coming out, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity for a lot of people to get that and do that. Not to mention, it would be cool to see that on a break on Dibdit Cards. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Yeah, no, it definitely would be cool, and I'm interested because, I got into Marvel. I got to give a big shout out to my guys over at No Flow because they're the ones who kind of like pushed me to like look at it a little bit more. And I found some awesome cards in the bargain boxes and was able to flip them for some really good money. So now that Topps Chrome is taking over with Marvel, it's going to be interesting. Marvel is one of those things, and Rod talks about this all the time with non-sports cards. It's like, like knowing when a character's, role is going to be prominent in an upcoming movie or they make announcements and stuff like that is super important for the non-sports card world. Like I remember I was watching Rod break the Marvel last night, and he mentioned that somebody was getting their own. I want to say it was Hawk is getting their own TV show.
Wonder Man's getting his own TV show on Disney Plus, and then we talked about Fantastic Four's got their new movie coming out, and then the Avengers are coming out, and then we just had Thunderbolts, the movie that was just released. At the very end, they talked about. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but about something new that's coming out at the very end.
Thunder Nuggets.
Duggan Nuggets, yes.
Game
that was
7.
exactly what it was. That was exactly
a good
what it
one.
was. Yes, that was a good one there.
But somebody needs to make that like a thing at a restaurant. Thunder Nuggets,
No one needs Thunder
Nuggets. Thunder Buddies
Thunder
for
Nuggets?
life, guys.
No
one needs
Thunder Nuggets.
No.
With some chili cream sauce.
Yeah, dude, like something spicy. That's what Thunder Nuggets would be. They'd have like a wallop.
Tim, I would say, looking back now this year, I think especially being on this podcast with us, I've seen your knowledge expand so much more in non-sports because you were just so hyper focused for the longest time of just, I mean, mostly baseball, but then football and the other sports around it. How do you like the non-sport stuff though? I mean, are you getting into it a
I
little
think it's
bit more?
interesting. I think there's a lot of potential out there. Anytime I see some potential, I'm going to go there and lowball somebody for it. So
I'm gonna say it. Thanos can't tear an MCL. He can kill half of the people in the world, but he can't tear an ACL.
yeah, I mean,
So-
listen, I once called him Thanos.
That's
so-
true.
Thanos.
Thanos.
Oh my gosh!
I thought he was
Thanos.
Greek, you know.
Yeah, I hope you weren't around Marvel people. You would have been just.
No, I was live, of course.
Yeah, it was- he
Oh, even
definitely live
better.
on his thing.
Even better.
And I laughed.
I would have
and then-
no idea what it's like to mispronounce names and then post those videos to the internet just
Well, Rod
to see
has-
what people say.
Rod has like a dictation device to help him.
Yeah, and I still get it wrong. That's the
Dude.
worst part.
I mess up all the time, and the worst part is like I don't even know I mess up till I listen after, like,
Yes.
and I'm doing like the caption app and stuff, and I'm like, what? That's not even the dude's name. And then
That's
I'm like,
when you
it's
gotta change the
it's
caption to
organic.
make it
I
right.
leave it. No, I. That's the thing. If you ever see me mess up somebody's name, the caption is always correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm not gonna go and change it because I know people will get upset.
Well,
As long as it's organic, I'm cool with it.
well, of course, I'll probably mess up a lot of names and breaks. So I'm sure I did last night when I was going through. And speaking about breaks, man, Tim over here, over the years, was
Timmy
over
Hot
the
Hands.
moon this week when he hit a monster on his break.
Yeah, big shout out to Keith, Vintage Sport Flips. If you guys didn't know, we actually have a Bowman's Blaster 6-box break that will be breaking tonight. Auctions start ending at what time, Rod?
I think they end from 8:30 to 8:25 through 8:55. They end.
Yep. So
No, wait, maybe not. No, I'm sorry. They end. Let me take that back. 9 o'clock to like 9:30, 9:32, whatever they end. Then we go live at 9:45.
yeah, so
something
Rod's
like
going to be breaking 6 Bowman Blaster boxes for this week on Wednesday night. But we just did our first Bowman break. It was a 4 blaster box break, and then we did a 2 blaster box break. So make sure you guys tune in because sometimes we do like breaks on the spot where you can get really good deals. And Keith, Vintage Sport Flips, who also did a break this past week, he broke some Optic and the 1989 Score football pack, which was really cool. So he hit a Dylan Cruz true yellow refractor rookie card auto in that break.
At a
And
75.
that spot sold for $16.50, I think. So definitely the Bowman Blasters have been living up to their name. It's one of my favorite products to break, especially retail, because there's so much value in the Bowman Blasters. And we talked about that last week, and it came through. I mean, Roki Sasaki, red rookie card, we also hit in that break. By the way, the value on some of those things have gone in the toilet. Remember we were talking about what the value of that stuff was going to be like?
What, the red rookie
The
card?
Suzuki's only like what 70, give or take.
Bro, listen to this. I found a Connor Norby red rookie card refractor today at the card show this past weekend. Shout out to all the card show drama here in the DMV. It's been pretty wild.
something
this
going on?
weekend. Yeah, there's a little something going on if you guys haven't heard about it. But yeah, I got a Connor Norby red refractor rookie card. And it had a $10 sticker on it, but my guy, I bundled up with some other cards for my guy. Shout out Shendel Sports Cards.
Did you get it
they're
down to
good
your
people.
$3 limit?
Yeah, like right around there. Yeah, under
I
my
love it.
$3 limit actually.
You just
so that was
start
pretty
seeing
good.
how expensive of a card you could put in there.
You should just make a T-shirt. It
Bro,
says
I
$3
got-
or less.
I
That's
got
all.
Caleb Williams,
no
Green Wave,
context. No context. See what happens.
Caleb Williams Green Wave Prism rookie card in a bundle with a Calvin Ridley RPA to 25. Alexander Madison rookie, not rookie
Dude, is
card. but-
Ridley still playing? He was a beast. He
he's
was a
still
big
playing.
deal for a
He's
while.
back. And then Alexander Madison number to 5. And then a Jaden Daniels optic rated a rookie base. And then I thought it was a Trey McBride name variation, but apparently it's just some guy named Tip something. For
Tip Redmond.
So
that was a Trey McBride name variation.
That was
I
a
love
bad buy on my part. But yeah, I got that whole bundle for $30. So that was a pretty good one. But anyways, the red refractor rookie card, kind of Norby, I was like, oh man, this is a steal. Like I'm
You don't want to give eBay scammers any ideas. Name variations. Just put up a Cam Reddish. It's like it's actually a name variation of somebody else.
And the card is selling for like $5-6 on eBay right now.
Wow.
I was like, what is going on here?
Tim, you should just walk up with a stack of cards and be like, say the comp at like 150, just hand them $30 for those 10 cards, and just tap your head, dude.
Well, I thought I was getting a good deal until I got home and realized that was not a traded pride variation.
I guess you were too twice.
Yeah, and apparently people don't believe in Connor Norby being the rookie of the year this year.
No, definitely not. But the thing that's interesting too is because we talked a lot about that on the episode, and so the print run is a lot more than I think we all had anticipated there being. Because like I went and looked at cards, there's like 50 of them up for sale right now, like as low as $5. So it's just it'll be interesting to see where they go with that.
Are they up for sale because half of them are disqualified for winning? You know what I mean? Like, could that be it? Why it just tanked? I mean, there was hype and there was disappointment and then there was just confusion.
So just a lot of people who don't want a 30-year, potentially $1,000 card. Is that what happens or whatever? 25 years after retirement or no?
I mean, could they get in trouble for like false advertisement in a way? Because literally they have running a contest where half the 8 of the people aren't even eligible for the actual contest, and yet they put those cards in there. So like,
this is going to be interesting to see who actually, if anybody, like, what if it gets to the point where somebody wins Rookie of the Year and they don't have one, and then nobody can use the whole program's gone.
So if I'm not mistaken, I did hear that they were going to release some of the other rookies. I think
that's
later,
what we have to find out.
Yeah, in later sets. Now I have not confirmed that. I did hear a rumor on that. I don't know how true that is, but that would make sense if they were coming down the pipeline there.
Could you see them do it as a chase and tops now possibly? Like there was a red and a yellow. They had like maybe different variations of the colorways, and then each one's maybe a bigger prize. That seems like very Tops-ish.
Yeah,
kind of like something they might do.
But we'll see. But
speak about Tops-ish, we're gonna move away from Tops because what about Panini and their origins, the double zeros?
Bro, let me tell you, they've been doing this for a long time. They've been doing this for a long time, and the fact that we're still there, it's like So for those of you that don't know, Panini has been putting out these like.
Didn't you send me a picture of it?
I did send you a picture of it.
Okay,
yeah.
let me see if I can
they've been putting out screenshots and little videos of all the players at the rookies at the NFL PA rookie whatever they conference, whatever it is that they do, right?
Photoshop.
And so like they've been putting out pictures of them signing the cards. And I saw the Shedeur Sanders one, and I'm like, I remember this with Mac Jones, and be like. Why are we putting double zeros on these players' jerseys? Like, imagine getting a card of Shedeur Sanders autographed Origins rookie card, and he's in his Browns uniform, right? And it's 00. Like, what? They can't do like. They can't put a different number on him? Like, don't they know what number he's going to be wearing?
They don't know yet. A lot of them are still waiting, I think, is the issue for the number. But I would think you would maybe even leave it blank. And I mean, are they printing the cards right now? Can't they Photoshop it in
they're
2
autographing
weeks?
them at this
Well,
summit.
the hand, the hand.
But like, it's just, wild. It's such an awful look. I remember when I was trying to sell my Justin Herbert cracked ice rookie card auto at the card shows. And people were like, nah, like it's an awesome card, but I can't do it. He's in a college uniform. And I'm like, it just reminded me, I did this whole thing about how like you could have a guy, rookie quarterback, autographed in a college uniform, numbered to 25, 5, 10. And it won't even scratch the surface of like a base autograph out of Optic Contenders, like in price comparison. Because people hate college uniforms so bad. So it's not
necessarily though. They hate it with modern. Changing. No, it's changing, but it's also they hate it with the current classes of rookies because once the pro stuff comes out. Because I was just looking this up earlier today. I bought do you guys remember who Robert Gallery was? The number 2 pick in like 03 or 04. He was out of Iowa. He was kind of a bust for the Raiders. If you go look online right now, a press pass Robert Gallery in his Iowa uniform, where he's a legend, goes for, this is what I'm saying. Like, if it's a college legend that didn't pan out in the NFL, their college stuff is going to be more valuable because the college collectors are going to come out.
All right, there it is. Finally pulled it up.
Look how bad that looks.
Why?
I don't really care personally.
But I mean, they Photoshop everything. Why not just Photoshop his number on the card?
They don't have the number as of now, and they're doing
put any number other than 00.
Put number
just
one.
Have the wrong number, or just use his college number, and then
his college number. Yeah. Like
there goes your jersey number match out the window.
Unless he's number 00.
That would be interesting. Yeah, that would be interesting if they used his college number and then he did a different number in the NFL. But then you get the number match to the wrong number, I guess, if he used his college number here.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Yeah. I would rather them go with a number. I agree. But I don't know why they're doing that.
To me, it just blows my mind that we're still at this point where people are like, they're still putting out these 00 origin cards. They've been doing it for forever. It looks so bad. It takes away completely from the card, if you ask me. For those of you that are watching on Spotify, this is we're showing the Shedeur Sanders Origins autograph rookie card, where he's wearing a.
And just for the record, guys, we're showing it in 180p.
Yeah. Well, listen, it was a normal sized picture, and I had to crop it so you guys.
I know,
I'm
messing with you.
That wasn't me. That was this guy right here, right? Don't blame the messenger here, right? So I'm just presenting it over. But I don't know. Do you think he's gonna start for the Browns? I heard he's being light. I mean, I heard he's doing a lot better than Dylan. So,
well, look, my question is this: if when the cards come out, the first batch of those cards, whose card is worth more money? I mean, whose card is selling on the secondary market bigger?
I think
Dylan's
going to have
or Shedeur Sanders?
Dylan's going to have a bump because he was picked first, and then Shedeur, I think, is going to be down compared to what we thought, but he's still going to be higher than Dylan Gabriel, in my opinion.
Pop culture in society, no one knows who Dylan Gabriel is. They all know who Shedeur Sanders is. I mean, look at the draft. I mean, the draft went for 3 days, and all they could talk about was Shedeur Sanders in this slip.
Well, Cam Ward might be the least hyped up number one quarterback in a long time. Honestly,
Crazy.
As good as he is, it's not like in years past. Like Arch Manning's going to be crazy. There's different years. We've had Kyler Murray was hyped up big time. It's interesting how it is this year.
So there's a lot of. How many guys drafted in that late in the round are going to be prominent in products like Shedeur Sanders is going to be, that's going to be an interesting topic. Think about this. Tyler Show, right? That's how you say his last name?
Yeah.
Show?
I don't think it is, but close enough.
Shoe?
Shaugi?
What's his card value going to be? He was drafted. He's the first round rookie quarterback.
Spencer Rattler.
He wasn't drafted first round. He was drafted second.
I think
round.
he'll be.
Was he drafted? No, he was drafted in the
second
first
rounder.
round.
He was a second rounder.
He was not drafted first round. The only two quarterbacks were Jackson Dart and Cam Ward.
Yeah, he was a second rounder.
But yeah, what's his card value going to be?
A lot more since Derek Carr retired.
So they got Derek Carr. They just signed somebody else. Derek Carr, Spencer Rattler.
Who is
Derek Carr
be?
Retired?
Oh no, that's what I meant.
Think of this. This is a good question. Who
Jake
out
Hayner.
the gate? And we obviously don't know the future, but who out the gate's going to be the guy people are chasing? It's got to be Shedeur, even though he was a fifth rounder.
I think Cam Ward.
Cam Ward, yes.
Genty, definitely.
Genty, and then Travis Hunter is going to be.
Travis Hunter, I think, is going to be the big chase.
Well, but think about performance-wise, who can have the most impact on the team? Running back can jump right in there right away and start. That's something you can start right off the back.
This is what's interesting. We're going to talk about this in a couple of minutes because how the value of players and the value of cards differs so much between sports, and so I'll kind of save that for that topic. Okay. But it'll be interesting to see when this product drops.
Abdul Carter, he came from a second division NCAA school, but still, he'll probably have a little bit of a following as well.
Oh my God, I have a highlight of Jeremiah Love for Notre Dame when he's just destroying Penn State, and Carter is prime in that clip. That can't take him down, man. Can't take him down.
He's a
We'll
beast.
see what happens. We'll see. Penn State's going to be stacked once again with Drew Aller. We got Nick Singleton. Like,
Go
they're gonna be
Natron
stacked.
Allen.
Natron Allen. Like, yeah, they're going to be stacked. So we'll see what happens there. But no, man. I mean, since Tim brought it up, let's jump into this topic because this is a question we actually got on one of the podcast. Actually, one of the comments we got in the podcast was, why do certain sports that, when I use case hit as an example, why is case hits in football or basketball worth so much more than case hits in baseball? And why is there certain rookie cards in certain sports worth so much more than other cards? And we're just not just talking about inserts, even base cards as well. So we're gonna do a little kind of a breakdown, kind of give your thoughts and that. But let's start with you, Tim. I know you're itching right now to answer this question. Why are baseball case hits don't have the same value as football or basketball?
I don't have the answer. I wish I did. I think
I have an idea.
I think there's a little bit of the COVID effect here.
Okay.
I think that
100%.
you know
100%.
with the COVID boom, it really put basketball and football cards to the forefront, and I think you have all the
But why though? Like, why do you think that put that to the forefront?
because Zion and Ja for
Luka.
basketball, right? And then you have all the people who were creating content and the so-called influencers during the COVID boom that were pushing all of that. Nobody was pushing baseball as much, even though there's 7 million PSA Luis Robert
thing,
rookie
though.
cards.
Here's the thing: baseball was already a pretty mature, resale market at that point.
Yeah.
I would say more mature than basketball or football at that moment. That's why I think like the case hits don't hit as much for baseball because it's already established. Kind of what you're doing. In Bowman, you're chasing the prospects. In Flagship, you want the rookies. There's game used. There was already like a group of people in a reselling market that was pretty well established and not as driven by these. I mean, at the very core, a case hit's a gimmick, right? At the very core, we don't even know the print run of it. They're worth way more than a card that actually has a low print run. So it's not. I think it's not as infiltrated by the gimmickry, and that's just loosely said.
Do you also think though it has something to do with the licensed product versus unlicensed product? Since Topps had the license for baseball, and basketball and football had the kabooms,
That's
you
a
had the
good point.
downtown stuff like that.
Panini might
And
have had a lot to do with
Yeah,
it.
and Topps didn't really have those like big sought after case hits that Panini did.
And they didn't really start doing them for a couple of years. Home Field
Yeah.
Advantage didn't come out probably till a year or two after the kaboom and the downtown stuff was already in the market.
So-
Some people think it has to do with design too.
I think the Home Field Advantages look awesome. They are similar in style. They're showing a cityscape, just like a downtown is. But
Have you guys seen the case hits for the new Bowman, the crystallized yet?
Yes, they look awesome.
How sick are those?
They look sick. Why don't you for the viewers out there? Can you describe those for them?
So like the case hits, one of the case hits, because there's a couple in Bowman, is called crystallized, and it's basically a horizontal card, and it's the player, and then the entire card is a background, looks like a stone, like a
diamond in a way.
What do they call those? Like a geomites? What are they called?
Geode, yeah.
Yeah, like
geode.
broken in half, like the inside of it with all the swirls and everything.
Here, I'll
like
show
that.
you guys, like, for those watching.
Yeah, look
Yeah.
at that. That's dope.
They're sick.
Now I'm curious. Like, do any of you guys have an idea of what those are selling for right now?
No.
Like in
This person's
comparison,
asking like $325 for that one. So we'll see what they
So
actually
okay,
sell
so that's
for.
on point with like downtowns then. If it's in the $300 range.
yeah.
Well, that's what they're asking. But yeah, I don't know. I think they've yet to definitely have a case hit that's hit the imagination of the people, like the Kaboom and the downtown. I mean, it's interesting. I would love, and we've talked about this before, I'd love to know where the downtowns are in 10 years and 20 years, if that's still a thing currently. Obviously, the kids and the 20-somethings especially are going to be nostalgic for these in 20 years, just like we are for the 90s. But to what degree will they still be prevalent in new product at that point? I don't know.
Bro,
In case it's all...
you've been reselling. Sorry to interrupt you. I was going to say, you've been reselling long enough to know that everything goes in cycles.
Oh, yeah.
So the cycle is just going to repeat. So as all of us now, we chase the 90s inserts. When we're out shows, we're at flea markets, garage, whatever, we want to find those 90 inserts because that's what we love. We grew up on. The kids now, they're in there, they're teenagers, 20-something years old. They're chasing the kabooms. They're going to chase those. They're going to chase those downtown cards. Even with Panini losing those licensing, I still think they're going to be something people are going to chase 5, 10, 15 years from now because it's what they grew up on. It's what they knew. They were the hot commodity.
It will be fascinating to see where the kabooms and the downtowns go once the product is unlicensed. I don't necessarily hate out the gate an unlicensed product if it's done well. So, I mean, there's still, if they have certain, deals with the players' associations and stuff, which I don't know what they have, I still think they can make interesting product. But I can't imagine, an unlicensed, whatever football player in 2 years, whoever the hot one, Arch Manning downtown, could be worth anything as much as the downtowns that are happening right now. I could be wrong, but
they've been producing baseball license for years. Those inserts, like the home field advantage, whatever they call them, they're not as valuable as the downtown stuff, but they're still cool cards. They're still case hits. People still like them. People still grab them, but they don't hold the same value. And maybe because it started off as unlicensed, and that's why. But I think going from a licensed product to an unlicensed product, they have a more of advantage that because they do have that tradition of producing those cards over the last 5-6 years, that people will still actually no. It's been 10 years for basketball, right? Because Kaboom started 2014,
13, 12.
Yeah, 13. So
like
we've had those for a decade. So I think that's just been ingrained in collecting society that they're going to still want to collect those, even if it is unlicensed. I don't know.
Yeah,
bro, I'm gonna give you something that's interesting. All right, I'm gonna give you 3 sports, and I'm gonna give you 3 numbers. Okay. So this is off of a generic search on eBay. Baseball card, football card, basketball card.
All right.
Okay. The 3 numbers I'm going to give you are 12 million results, 23 million results, and 38 million results. Match up the search result number with the sport. We'll start with you, Cary.
38 million's baseball cards. The one in the middle is football, and the one on the bottom, the lowest is basketball, would be my guess.
I agree.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Yep.
So, do you think there are more? Which sport do you think has the most collectors?
Oh, baseball. Heads and shoulders.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we talked about in one of the previous episodes about how when I go to shows, I see set collectors baseball. I don't see
never
set
seen
collectors.
football
this might not
set
be
collector.
Yeah,
football I've seen occasionally. I've never seen a
There are
basketball.
few.
I've never seen a basketball. Never seen a hockey. Like, it's always baseball. 95% of the time, it's always baseball.
It's interesting in 20 years, though, because anybody our age, we're in our early 40s, right? What were the first cards you collected when you were a kid? What sport?
Baseball.
Baseball. Everybody you talked to, you were a baseball card guy, and then basketball and football, was around, but it got bigger in the mid-90s.
But you also have to remember the basketball wasn't around from 82 to 92, or from 81 through whatever. Yeah. Basketball's gone for 10 years, whatever the range was, from like 82 to 90.
81 to 86. But Fleer was hard. I don't know how. I guess Fleer was available. The 86, 87
86,
stuff.
Yeah, Fleer came out, but they were very limited. And 87 was more. 87 is actually more scarce than 86.
I've heard stories, and I could be wrong. These are vague recollections of stories of like Fleer being available, like at I think like gas
7-Elevens?
stations and stuff, and 7-Elevens, and like they couldn't sell them. So that it's kind of like similar to the 1952 top stuff. Like they had so much they couldn't get rid of it, and then they dumped the 52 tops or whatever in the ocean. Was that story? Yeah. Like there's probably, like, if we go picking all across America, we may end up in Kentucky in a backwoods place, and they have an old supermarket or something. We may find in the back room someday, if they're still out there, some of these old
they're out there, man.
And stuff. They have to be.
Well, how about I did a private pick. This little spoiler, but the video hasn't dropped yet. But on my card channel, this is going to be coming out here in the future, where I went to an older lady's house, and she actually in the 80s was going to card shops, and she would just buy boxes. The guy at the card shop told her it would be a good investment because, guys, remember, 80s and 90s, people always said, "Oh, you need to invest, buy cards,
we all
invest
were
on
going to get rich."
That's what happened to Junk Wax. That's how Junk Wax Box Air was established. But when I was going through, I bought like 15 banker boxes full of cards, and going through, I got a box of 1987 Fleer basketball, and I think on the if I'm not mistaken, I think on the price tag on it was like $12. You know what I mean? Like it was just she just had it sitting there for the longest time. Now, granted, I paid thousands of dollars for that, but you know they're out there. They're still out there some places, and you hear the stories about people finding stuff in their grandmother's attic or their grandparents' basements, and you always like, oh, that's not true. That can never happen. They're out there because as pickers, we come across those things every once in a while. We have that huge score, but I mean, there's tons of stuff out there. You just got to search for it.
What do you think has a larger search result, hockey card or soccer card?
I'm going to say soccer all
You're
day.
muted, Cary.
Hockey.
Hockey by
Really?
6 million.
Wow. I thought internationally we would have more soccer, but that's
Exactly.
interesting.
I bet even internationally it would be close.
I mean, hockey is probably also big though internationally though.
Oh yeah,
So,
hockey's. I mean, like in a lot of countries, yeah.
that's an interesting one.
It's just
But see-
fervent too in Canada. It is the number. I mean, I guess hockey is massively collected. I imagine I haven't been to Canada, but massively collected in Canada. Whereas like soccer cards would be probably the most popular card in most countries in the world, but they're countries that are not like known for collecting cards as much. You know, I don't know where you can go find. I'm sure there's obviously places, but it's not as easy in Sao Paulo to go pick up a box of soccer cards as it is in, you know, in America to go pick up a box of soccer cards where there's a lot less demand.
Yeah.
Okay, I like
So
this game.
Interesting.
So I got some more
fun
questions
game,
for
yeah.
you. Let's throw in there wrestling, Marvel, and Disney cards. But I also want to see what a result for Pokemon cards is because I think Pokemon
You're throwing
may
Pokemon
beat
in?
baseball. Pokemon may beat baseball. Possibility.
Pokemon is going to be number 2 is my guess after baseball. It's
You
going to
think
be
so?
30
Bigger than
million
football?
probably. Bigger
Yeah,
than football. Basketball.
Pokemon comes in at
30 million.
3.5 million.
Oh wow,
Oh,
that's
okay,
way
lower. That's a lot lower than I thought.
Now remember, these are just generic searches. I'm literally
Sure.
just typing in Pokemon card.
But we
On
also remember
eBay.
Pokemon was established in Japan in 1996 and in the US in 98. So I mean, baseball's cards been around for 100 plus years. So there's a big difference there. So
Yeah.
I would say,
Disney
It's interesting with-
is low.
yeah,
No, I would say
figured
out of the 3 that you said before you said Pokemon, I would say Marvel without a question.
Marvel,
would be number
wrestling,
1.
or Disney.
Because
Disney is
Marvel
only
has the whole
150,000.
90s.
Yep. Well,
Disney's
see,
an interesting one. Like this might be a crazy take. I'm still unsure if it will ever take hold. Like people think it. It definitely. The one nice thing about Disney is it has the possibility to be major.
Disney messed up tremendously because they have some of the biggest IPs in the entire world. They have some of the best characters, some of the most known characters out there. And how the hell they have not started producing cards on a consistent basis years ago blows my mind. That every time I think about that, they have dropped the ball tremendously.
Well, just
I
think
mean-
like even last year, like Kakao was the one. They produced stuff this year too, but like
Yeah.
they just barely started taking it serious, and that's because as much grief as Topps gets for certain things, they're pushing, they're innovating in the sense that they're bringing these IPs that should have been. They should have had cards since the 90s, although there is some Disney sets in the 90s that are worthless. But
Yeah, I got a Lion King cards, Aladdin cards, and stuff like that.
yeah, there was like a Disney. There's several random, but they were like for kids. They weren't really made to. I mean, they weren't really made with autographs or
Okay.
anything super chaseable at that time.
I got something that's interesting. This is a little bit off topic. So, shout out to Don West, aka Joe Hollywood,
Dude.
on
Yes.
on whatnot.
I
He
love
opened
Don
a box. He opened a box
Joe
of
Hollywood, I don't know, but Don West, I love.
Yeah, we love Don West, but Joe Hollywood is like the modern version of like the evil Don
He had
West.
Storage Auction Pirate on one of his lives. I saw.
Yes.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Weird combo
collab.
between the two of them. But yeah, Joe Hollywood's just awful. But anyways, he opens up a box, and inside the box was not Prism basketball from whatever year it was supposed to be, but it was filled with All My Children
Oh, my children, yeah.
cards. So who were those marketed to? Who were the packs of All My Children cards being
That
marketed
is an
to?
interesting one. Like,
So
yeah,
I'll tell you this. You gotta remember in the late 80s, early 90s, baseball cards, football cards, everything was starting to take off. Basketball came back.
wait, what?
What?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think so.
In the
Been
late
there.
'80s, early '90s, there was like some sort of boom in sports
Yeah,
cards and
relatively boom.
non-sports cards.
I
What
know
the
it's
heck?
it's shocking. You
Is
know,
that the measles boom?
you should look at the history of things. But no, I think because of the great success there, they started just picking up all these different licensing and just throwing crap against the wall and see what stuck.
Is that
That's
what's
pretty much what
happening now?
happened.
You think?
No, I think there is a pattern right now that is of success, and I think that they are being more strategic with it and more smart. But also too is like back then you were just throwing stuff against the wall because you didn't have the internet for research. You didn't have what people were demanding, what
How
looking
far?
for.
How far can you push it though? Realistically, Disney makes perfect sense. They're going to get into some IPs. Here, I'll throw one out, which seems a little far fetched. Like all my children is a soap opera, but would a Topps Chrome, The Office, work?
Absolutely,
They would
100%.
probably crush.
They were crushing.
Probably would. Seinfeld. I'm talking about like it's got to be a massive TV show IP.
Bro,
Big
Stranger
Bang
Things,
Theory, Stranger
Star
Things.
Wars.
Yeah. Does it need to be fantasy? I mean, can it be just a straight up
That's
TV
a good.
show?
That right there is
Obviously,
the key. I think.
If you
V-Friends?
if you pick V-Friends is a very interesting one all around because it's like
cartoon?
something cartoon, but that's been created recently. It's interesting all the way around. But like, I mean, you obviously it couldn't work on a mid-tier current TV show, but like an iconic show, it might. It's interesting.
How come we never got Minions? They're a huge box office success.
Dude, could you imagine like a yellow color match Minions refractor?
It doesn't mean that
Banana
we
yellow
won't.
refractor?
I mean, remember that's under Universal Studios owns the rights for them. So I mean, we have had Jaws cards in the past. I'm trying to think what else Universal has done that we have had cards. We've had like they've licensed like Friday the 13th out. They've done a lot of licensing. So I'm sure we're gonna get something down the line.
Can we just all three, if we have any execs anywhere in the world, whatever, wherever you are, if you're in sports cards, bring back the hologram? I think we've talked about this.
Yeah, I saw Rod was talking about
And just
that.
a wild card. If you're really, really adventurous, bring back the scratch and sniff as well. Both of those.
Scratch and sniffed. Dude, why don't we have hologram cards? I don't understand this. Like,
Dude,
they were such a
They
huge
have
success.
refractors now.
Nah, I want a hologram card. I
know
want a
you do.
hologram.
Like, could
Go
probably
to
make them way
Denny's.
better, dude. They could probably make them way. I don't
Ice cream
understand how
slam.
they. I don't understand how those would not be massive. Like, it would be perfect in a Topps flagship as like a throwback to the 30, 40, 50-year-old
like a
guys.
hologram Ken Griffey Jr.
You
card.
you can make it like you could
Case
put some
hit.
elements of make it a case. You could put some elements of the physical card on there. It doesn't have to be all hologram. It could be one part of the image. Do the face as a hologram or the ball, like make it like a parallel. I don't know. If you guys use that, you owe no bangers money technically. Though.
Absolutely.
I wonder, does Upper Deck own the rights to hologram cards? Maybe that's what we haven't seen
that
in the
might be
major
it,
sports.
dude.
Because remember, like holograms stopped right around the 2000 part, and that's when Upper Deck started losing some of the licensing, and they started going to other companies.
That'd be an interesting little bit of a deep dive there.
Because Upper Deck is, dude. I mean, can we talk about how innovative Upper Deck has been over the years? I mean, if it wasn't for Upper Deck, we wouldn't have anything that we have right now. Or if we would, it would have. I mean, Upper Deck has literally been a staple of the sports card community for the longest time. Hologram cards. We have had first RF card was Reggie Jackson in there. We had game use patches, baseball bats, other
I just
stuff.
got word on how much the Marvel Topps Chrome looks like it's dropping for.
How much?
Apparently, it's a big number.
$299,
Not that bad, but close to it.
$249,
$240.
$240.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. I stand corrected. So, a hobby box is $199.
Okay.
What? Why does it say $240? Oh no, $199 is Inception. Topps Inception is dropping at $199. Marvel Chrome is dropping at $240. So basically $20 a pack.
Okay. Interesting. Wait and see how that plays out. So I will buy a case. I'm going to buy a case. I'm going to buy a case of it, and we're going to
He said it too. I will buy a case.
I will buy a case, and we will rip it on.
I'm sitting here
Dibdit cards.
contemplating if I can justify buying a box at that price. And you're
No,
like, I will
a
buy a
pack.
case.
I will buy a case.
I will buy a pack. I will tell you that if they're available, I will buy a pack at the same level of enthusiasm as I will buy a case.
Listen, by the way, how much did you guys enjoy that clip I sent of you of us three in the parking lot? You guys standing on each end, like staring at me, and Rod being like, "Do you need car content? You need card content this week? I'm like, this is so perfect for no bangers. We got to find a way to slip that in
Put
at
it
some
in the
point.
front. Put it at the start.
But I will tell you guys this. I personally
Can we do an intro like your channel where we have that music and we all get box cutters? We're opening different boxes. But they have it's just different stuff. Like
we'll have to holler off.
Rod has a bunch of junk he overpaid for. I could have
Yes.
I could just have, I don't know, Robert Gallery autographs and stuff.
If you guys shout out to Tim here, if you guys never go to his channel first off, Over the Sports,
Over the Sports?
Over the Sports.
Sound like
Yeah,
me
welcome to
trying
the
get
cod.
intro.
I can
Welcome to the
literally read it on
Codcast,
your name,
everybody.
And I'm wrong. All right, so Over the Years Sports, go to his channel and go watch his intro, and also like and subscribe because we need to throw a dog a bone. All right.
No Bigger Sports Card Podcast is sometimes put out in Pig Latin, basically.
Yes.
That's what it sounds like when we talk.
I love that, man. It's like Tim's YouTube channel is like 2 minutes of an intro. And it's like you're watching a Sports Center intro. It's amazing.
But it's cool. I will say this. Like, I even texted him one day. I was like, out of all the intros across YouTube, I skip everyone but yours. I just enjoy it.
I always get hyped up. I'm like, I don't even know how it goes, but I know how it goes, you know?
Why don't you make him sound like he's like in the backwoods of like Virginia? Like, there's not a kind of low picker here. Like,
I don't know what it's in my
So
head.
let me tell you this. To get this ship back into the sales.
oh, this ship's gone a long time ago, my
Let's
friend.
get the
Of
ship
the,
back into the sales.
Get this ship back into the sails of
Pig
the
Latin.
ocean.
Let's not drive it into a bridge or anything.
Yeah,
Guys. Come on.
Oof, that's a little early.
Too early.
Soon.
Two
Too soon.
people pass away there.
Oh, well, we could edit it out. Sorry.
I'm not doing any extra work.
Edit it out.
Listen. Okay,
I meant nothing by that, by the way.
I know we love you. If you had to choose a sports cards, which sports card do you think? Like, say we don't give financial advice here, but if you had to tell somebody if there's getting into selling sports cards, which one is the best sport for somebody who's just starting to get into to flip?
Baseball, in my opinion. Baseball. I mean, that's the one thing I've learned from you just recently. Like baseball, it's a different animal. Maybe the high end isn't. I mean, there's obviously high end, but I just feel like there's so much more depth to it. Whereas like football, it's like the quarterbacks, and then if you can get it at the right price, the hot, you can get a Sauce Gardner one year that's like a hot defensive player or whatever. But with baseball, there's so much levels. There's so much depth with the prospects and the rookies, and then whatever chases are happening at that point. So I'd say baseball, in my opinion.
See, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to go with football because his key thing was they're starting out. So the simplicity of football, because all you really need to do is learn the quarterbacks, learn some running backs and wide receivers, and you're pretty much good to go.
But how hard is it to flip quarterback?
How hard is it to make like when you're new to make
can
money?
you make money?
If you're just going out there like a lot of kids are, and you're just going and looking for downtowns at whatever percentage, right? And then you're flipping it for. It just seems like I see so many people just cases fill the downtown and kabooms. They go and buy downtowns and kabooms, and they're selling it to somebody else, right? They're not collecting them. How are you making money in that equation?
Jared Verse won Rookie of the Year. How much do you think a Jared Verse Silver Prism rookie card sells
Not
for?
much.
Jared Verse is a guy you could find in bargain boxes and flip,
$2.99.
I get it, man. Listen, when you said just starting out, if you're just starting out, baseball is going to be the most complicated for you. Even the people that do sell cards, baseball can give you the biggest reward, but I also feel it's the most complicated for you.
It's a valid point. I understand your argument.
I would say either basketball or football, because basketball is only 5 players on the court. So you don't have a lot of players to learn. You can go after the key ones. The guy has a good game. You can quick flip the card, stuff like that. Football, you're just focusing on quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers. Defense doesn't really produce
running backs and wide receivers. Who though?
Woo, like Ashton Genty, that'd be a good one to go focus on.
That's it.
Out.
But name another.
But everybody else is focusing.
Everybody
else is focusing on Ashton Genty right now. So where are you going to get the deal to make the flip?
Shayshawn Barkley. Shayshawn Barkley. Yeah, right.
Shayshawn Barkley, come on.
His cards don't sell for nothing.
His cards went up a lot last year when he was about to break the record.
Yeah, for a brief moment, but
he's got
Shayshawn Barkley Silver Prism.
He's got his Kelly Green colored glasses on right now.
No one wants that because he's part of the Giants. If he was an Eagles rookie, it'd be worth a lot.
And
more.
Basketball, whose card is selling for good money right now?
I don't know. I don't deal about basketball. But
there is some stuff that is up in basketball, like Amen Thompson, but you still I mean, up from a couple months ago is what I'm saying. It's still tricky in anything. I think baseball is more broad. There's more opportunity if you're new and you're in the bargain boxes. If you're saying you're new and you don't want to put any effort in, then that's going to be tough to make money, period. Right?
Listen,
so you're going to have to study.
I was playing devil's advocate on the simplicity of it.
Rod's like, these guys are coming from my neck.
They're coming from my throat. Listen, I see Tim. He's just foaming at the mouth right now. He's like, this son of a bitch. He's like, this is not the answer I expected. I thought it was all going to be baseball across the board, and I agree with you. Baseball is the most potential.
This is all opinion and all subjective, but subjectively, your opinion is stupid. Correct?
That was a good one. That was a bar.
That was a good one.
Right
that was nicely played. There.
That was a bar.
I hate your face. Yeah,
but
I agree with you. I think baseball gives you the most opportunity, but just starting out, baseball is also going to be the more complex because there's so much you have to learn and going into, especially if you do Bowman and prospecting.
So then, why is basketball and football? Listen, football is king.
I would say
the NFL brand is king, right?
I would argue basketball's harder because it's so finicky and it's so hard. Like. It
limited
used to
player
be a couple
pool.
years ago, it was different when it was so booming. It was a different ball game, but now it's tough. But even for me,
that's why I want the limited player pool because guys come out, they have a couple games. You asked me, easy to flip. Guy comes out, he scores 40 points that day. His card's quick boom, you quick flip the card.
So who are the guys right now, Rod, that you could find? Let's say you could find affordably. Let's say in a bargain box that are flippable.
I said
who in basketball? Who?
That's a good question. Hold on. Tim said
Jalen Brunson, if you're lucky. You might find him in a bargain box or
Halliburton.
There you go. Jaden McDaniels right there.
Yeah, Jaden McDaniels. I got this in a dollar box. Literally a dollar box. Not even like a bargain box, a dollar box. And it sells for like $35.
I mean, there's an argument right now, I've been contemplating picking up some Tyrese Halliburtons in some bargain boxes lately. But I would prefer to find an autograph that I can go see under comp in a bargain box and see the comps.
Right, so hold on, backtrack here. Because football is one game a week. Baseball, you have 162 games. That adds a whole nother level of complexity to the situation. And then you have all the minor leagues, AAA, AA, single A,
that's where
rookie
you make
ball.
Your money.
I agree with you 100%. I would say someone's who's already been in the cards for kind of knows what they're doing. I would tell them deep dive in baseball all day long. But if you're just starting out, getting in there fresh, I think it's easier to transition to baseball later on. But starting with baseball, basketball, or football could be a lot easier for someone.
So, what do you think of somebody who catches 3 touchdowns in a game, somebody who scores 45 points one night in a game in basketball, and somebody in baseball hits for the cycle, throws a no-hitter, or hits 3 home runs in a game? Whose card goes up more immediately of the
baseball.
3?
Baseball, no doubt. You throw a no-hitter in baseball, that card is booming in the 7th inning, in the 6th inning, 5th inning maybe, right? Whereas basketball, we might not hear till a week. Like basketball, to get a no-hitter level excitement would have to be like 80 points.
80
probably more
points.
Than 50. It would probably have to be more than 50 because people dropped 50 during this last season. Who did it? I don't remember. I'm sure
Let's backtrack there. Let's backtrack. Is it because it's going up in more value because you have the flagship for football and basketball, but with baseball you have so many things, like you have all the different Bowmans out there. There's so much more product to find these prospects. So this in basketball and football, you'll find these prospects pretty much across the board and pretty much everything that's being released. Baseball is not the same. So you may have one of those hot prospects coming up that might just be in Bowman Chrome or just maybe in Bowman Draft.
But what if it's not a prospect?
Oh, that's true too.
Yeah, it could be anybody. Dylan Cease throws a no-hitter. He's been in the league forever.
That was the name I was going to use too.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because I remember I remember when he threw his no-hitter, I was selling tops. I mean, albeit this was during COVID boom, but I was selling just tops like sepias and purple refractors and stuff like that.
Let's say, and I'm going to assume.
Did you just become best friends there? Did you guys just become best friends?
Yes, we did. See, I'm going to assume he's still pitching. Let's say Jamie Moyer throws a no-hitter tomorrow. I'm going to assume he's still pitching.
That just came out of my nose when you said Jamie Moyer.
I'm assuming he's still pitching. If he threw one, his cards would get hot again. His 87 tops in the Cubs uni.
But like the big difference is that it's harder to have, because when a guy does it in basketball, right? Like he has a crazy game. The next game, if he goes out and drops 5 points, there's no time for you to get that value on the card. Even though in baseball, it's like, for example, like a guy like Dylan Cruz, Like, baseball is so up and down. Like, nobody is really hot the entire season except for like a few people. Aaron Judge is like Shohei Ohtani. You know what I'm saying? Like those sort of guys. Baseball is up and down, up and down. Football, it's like in football and basketball, the cards are so expensive.
But in football though, a guy has a hot Sunday. There's an entire week for you to make value on those cards.
But how much does the value? Do people really go and be like how much of a bump is it really though? Because I remember
the no-hitter,
trying to do that a lot of times.
The cycle, I think it has a lot to do with this. A no-hitter, a cycle, a 4 home run game. There's like 150 years of like history. And there's history in the other stats too, but I feel like it has more oomph. It's more nationwide. It's like if somebody throws a no-hitter, Dawn might know about it. Well, and she might find it on TikTok. Dawn, who doesn't follow sports. Whereas if somebody gets in football, you'd have to get like 250 plus yards, I think, as a running back to have that kind of a bump.
In my opinion, the bottom falling out on players is way worse in basketball and football than it is in baseball.
How so?
Mac Jones.
That's because he had a lot of hype, though. How many times in baseball you have a guy who has a big hype?
But did he even deserve the hype is the most interesting question.
That was prospect hype, though. That's different. You have a prospect hype in baseball all day long.
But I mean, so like, look at Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes' cards can't get any more valuable than they are right now. Think about that.
That's the thing, yeah.
You think Aaron Judge cards can get more valuable than what they are?
Hell yeah.
How do you figure?
If Aaron Judge breaks the home run record.
Okay. What happened if
the Yankees win the World Series, Aaron Judge cards will go through 10x, 20x, 30x. No
dude,
question.
He's batting 401. He has 15 homers. If they win, I mean, there's something to that. If he gets a triple crown and they win the World Series.
Yeah.
So, but there's also the Yankee effect. The Yankee effect is
and he's a Yankee, 100%.
That could be okay. So if
he's doing that on the Diamondbacks, it's a totally different thing. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. So, but I mean, you can't sit here and tell me that if Patrick Mahomes breaks Tom Brady's records, his cards aren't going to go up. Barely. If he doesn't win another Super Bowl, his cards are going to go up.
I think there's an interest. I mean, nobody knows the future, but I don't think him winning another I think there's a good chance he wins a Super Bowl and his cards go down within a week or two. That just happens because they're going to build in the hype beforehand. His prices are so high, and once again, I don't know. This is all just my opinion.
This is just us having
no advice on this,
conversation
but
here.
Yeah, I think baseball and I don't know why. I don't know the psychology behind it or why I feel this way, other than just being around cards for so long. I feel like, and also Judge hasn't won a World Series yet, so that would be the first time. So there would be that bump as well. I just think baseball has that higher.
Okay,
look at Jalen Hurts.
His cards didn't get value to after he won the Super Bowl from once.
Not even.
Nah.
The football and basketball market is so manipulated by hype, way more than baseball.
Would you even count Jalen Hurts as a top 10 hype quarterback? Not top 10 in the NFL, but like for cards. He's not even in the top 10.
No.
You'd put Herbert before him.
Okay.
You'd put Burrow before him. You put probably Penix before him right now.
You want to talk about hype? Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire going to break the home run record?
But they were in the 90s, though.
Doesn't matter.
There was a completely different sports card market.
There's cards went straight up at that point in time. What happened after the record?
Nobody was buying cards like they are right now, though. You can't use Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire as. What I'm trying to say is that football and basketball sports card markets are so much more manipulated by hype than baseball.
I agree with you. Absolutely on that.
I think it's
how is Jalen Hurts not valuable?
They are more valuable now than they were.
No. I bet you. No,
I don't think they are either. I agree with you. Tim, I love what you're saying here because I feel like baseball, and this could just be a feeling, but I think you're onto something here. A lot of basketball and football is just, we don't know what these players are going to do in the NFL or in the NBA, and there's just a lot of hype without any real statistics necessarily backing it up. But when and this happens in the minors all the time, a hot prospect comes up and their cards start to sell more. It's because they're hitting in AA, AAA, single A, or they have an OPS that's high, or they're striking out a lot of people. There's a reason why their stuff is going up. It may not translate to the next level. Nobody knows that. But it's not just because, the baseball's a lot more, you're right, based on what's actually happening in the games.
Like how it is with I guarantee you that Nikola Jokic cards are not even 75% of what Cooper Flagg's cards are.
Here's
right
another
now.
one.
But, okay. No,
JJ McCarthy hasn't thrown anything in the NFL. He was injured. He's got to be hype-wise right now. He's got to be in like the top 5 maybe.
All right.
Because he's going to be the starter now and Sam Darnold left. A lot of people are talking about, JJ Cards, even though he's done literally nothing in the NFL.
All right. You both made some great points there. Number one, Cary, I think baseball, you made a great point earlier because I know all the baseball records, the home run record, Kyle Ripken's record, like all these records over the years. You can't sit here and tell me basketball records or football records or hockey records compared to, but 100-point game. But I'm saying compared to baseball, like you're going to know more baseball records than anything else. Number one. Number two, you talked about Jokic there. It's because he's foreign. That does play a big factor into it. Foreign players.
It's because he doesn't dunk. He's not as exciting to watch either.
Correct.
But he could potentially go down as one of the top 10 to 15 players in NBA history.
If he keeps it up, he's a top 10, no doubt. He should be considered in the top 5 if he plays like this for another 10 years.
I would say it's different with baseball and basketball because being a foreign player in football or baseball basketball or football is not going to have the same impact as baseball because how many times you get people that don't speak English in baseball and no one cares? You know what I mean? They hit the ball. That's all that matters. But when people can't come out and do good interviews, and you see this happen a lot in fighting. UFC all the time, boxing all the time, because you remember you're presenting them as an entity to promote, and they have to find a way to connect with the public. So if you can't communicate, or if you have an issue where things don't translate because of different languages or because of different cultures, that does play a big factor into price of cards. Look at Conor McGregor compared to, some of the other champions right now in UFC. No one has the same hype as him because he's able to make that connection with the audience. So
I think baseball is also more just about what people are doing because, Jacob Wilson stuff has been really hot right now for a lot of us flipping his stuff. He goes to a Quiznos in Omaha, Nebraska. Nobody knows who he is. Nobody, not a single person knows who he is. And you could say that about a lot bigger players. Maybe not Mike Trout. They used to say that about Mike Trout, and still probably in Mike Trout could walk around Omaha and not be recognized by most of the people.
Except for Ivan. Shout out Ivan.
Yeah, Ivan would recognize. Ivan would definitely recognize him. But
Ivan, come in the comments so we know that you're
baseball,
still listening.
It's an interesting thing. Like baseball, I don't know what any of these dudes sound like. I've never heard Paul Goldschmidt say a word in my life. I don't even know if the dude can speak. I don't know. It doesn't matter, And he's
how many clips?
Why
of a
doesn't it matter?
Game,
I don't know. I have
how
no
many
idea
clips
why
of a post-game presser do you see of baseball?
I don't even know what. I vaguely know what Aaron Judge sounds like, but if I found out he was British tomorrow, I would be like, oh, I guess he's British. I didn't know. And I know he's from Stockton, California. But if
somebody please make an AI clip of Aaron Judge with a British accent.
But that's a good point, Tim. Like you're very. I was just starting to think of how many baseball press conferences do I see?
But you're right. Like in football and basketball, there is a lot more emphasis on
wrestling,
on the high, like you actually being able to speak post game, and your personality is a little bit more important. And I don't know why. It is. It's because it's less players. I don't know.
Okay, before we wrap up, I have to ask you guys one question. Did you guys WNBA open up this weekend? And it just so happened that they put Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese playing each other in the first game, and they went, head to head, obviously, in a little bit of a mini scuffle there after a flagrant foul, and the internet lost its shit.
Yes.
Crazy. They went crazy. It's the power of Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark might be and people can say whatever they want about Angel Reese because Angel Reese is a good basketball player. If she wasn't a good basketball player, she wouldn't be in the WNBA because it is not easy to play in the WNBA. A lot of top tier talent gets cut. You know what I'm saying? And she's still and she's a big draw, right? And she's a villain. And, there's people there's no room for that. And da-da-da. I'm like, what about Bill Lambier? What about Dennis Rodman?
We are witnessing, and I don't know how many people realize this, I feel like we are witnessing the 1980s basketball, Michael Jordan, how Jordan took it to the next level and made basketball. I mean, it was already a nationwide thing, but he took it to whatever level it's at now, this massive global sport, and I think that's exactly what's happening with the WNBA.
That's such a great point because
Caitlin is that figure, and then Reese, Lambier, she is the the person against it. Like it's this is TV. Like the fact that we're talking about the WNBA, where 2 or 3 years ago, all I heard about the WNBA is how they can barely even stay in business, right? Because you know they just aren't getting fans into the games, and now everybody's talking about a random game that didn't really matter.
Caitlin Clark sells for more money than Shohei Ohtani.
Dude,
she sells.
You don't have to tell me how well Caitlin Clark sells. I know.
Cary wouldn't be in Florida if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark. So
there's a good argument for that.
But this is what I would say is, I mean, it's the modern day Bird and Magic, pretty much the big rival between those two right now.
It's
but
very similar.
Think about this though, for a villain's not good unless you have a good hero, and vice versa. Every hero needs a good villain, and regardless of how you feel about these two women, Caitlin Clark's put on a pedestal up there. She's going to be that built-in hero. So anyone who's going after her is going to be considered a villain. Not pretty much that, but you need a good storyline, and that is a great storyline. Kudos to the WNBA for putting that game together as game one to start off the season too.
And listen, Angel Reese had a double-double, and Caitlin Clark had a triple-double. Yeah. Did you see what's the guy's name who owns Barstool? Portnoy?
Dave Portnoy?
Yeah, Portnoy. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Pizza Boy.
He's a douchebag. Yeah. But anyways,
Portnoy on a podcast, but Portnoy on a podcast.
He bet I think it was $25,000 on Caitlin Clark to have a triple double in that game, and he ended up cashing out $350,000 or something like that.
Must be nice to have FU money just to
throw down. That's you.
The pizza review guy.
No, I don't have
Look,
FU
if we had a producer right now at this point, somebody they would put in the clip. I'm gonna buy a case.
Listen,
as soon as Rod said that must be nice, and then it's gonna clip away to Rod. I'm gonna buy a case.
Somebody clip that for us if you want.
You know how my mind
insert
thinks.
it and stuff.
My mind's always like 3 steps ahead, and you know that. When I call you up, I'm like, "Hey man, I got this great idea," blah blah blah. So you know the wheels are already turning. As soon as you said that, I was like, "Oh, well, I'm going to do this."
If you weren't 5 steps behind, it would be helpful.
Yes, well, you're 3 steps ahead on stuff like that, but you're like 2 weeks behind on Carr retiring.
Was David Carr retired? What?
Listen, I can't keep up with all the news these days. All right,
we were just sending them those IG things that happened like years ago. Very late NFL news.
All right, for those who don't know, somehow I missed that Jordan Travis retired, and I was like, I was literally watching a video. It was like super late night, and I was like, and someone popped up like, "Oh, Jordan Travis retired." I'm like, "Oh, he retired?" So what do you always do? You text your friends like, "Hey, man, I can't believe Jordan Travis retired." And these idiots, these dumbasses here, were like, "Oh, he retired? Oh, that's where have you been the last 2 weeks?" And then
this is what we expect from somebody who's just got money buying up everything, not even paying attention to what's happening, more worried about Topps Chrome Marvel, whatever you're doing.
Listen, that's going to be beneficial to you, buddy.
I know.
Okay. Here we go.
Oh,
the second hashtag for the giveaway is hashtag I'm gonna buy a case.
Perfect.
With the finger going up.
With the finger. Oh, yeah, you have to have the finger going up.
You get 2 entries if you add the finger to it at the very end. All right?
There you go.
Well, this podcast has gone down the hill just like all the other ones, and
this is a great episode.
I can't wait to do this at National. I'm going to see like a box of GI Joe cards and be like, you know what, Rod? I'm going to buy a case. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it all the time now. I hope everybody else does it too.
Oh man, yep. I can see this is going to be an ongoing joke. I hate you all, but
no, you gave us
National. It's official. The No Banger Sport Card Podcast has booked their place to stay, and we are definitely coming to the National this year, guys. So if you guys are at the National, please look out for us. We should have Vintage Sports Flip. All right, Keith over there, he's going to have a booth set up, and he said we can do a little meet and greet there if we wanted to, but we're definitely going. We're going to be there, so please, if you guys do see us, look out for us. We'll talk more about that in the future, but plan to see us in Chicago. Because all 3 of us will be there.
It's going to be fun.
Tim, you're definitely going, right?
I'm going to buy a case on 3, right?
We got to do no bangers.
All right, no bangers on 3. 1, 2, 3. No bangers!
You better.